Hi everybody, welcome to Right to the Top. I'm Adam. In today's video, I want to look at some more vocabulary because I know people need vocabulary, people like to learn new words. So I'm going to give you some IELTS and TOEFL specific vocabulary that you can use when it comes up in your essay topics. And we're looking today at family. Now, a lot of these words may be already familiar to you. Some of them are basic words you learn in ESL classroom. But I'm going to give you a little bit more specific ones and a few alternatives that will be very helpful to you. So we're going to start with family types and family members. Now, you know brother, sister, husband, wife, all these things. So we're going to start with the family types, the nuclear family. This is your immediate family, the ones that live with you in your house. In an average house, this is who lives in it. Brother, sister, mother, father, spouse, wife, husband, sibling, brother, sister, and then kids and all that. So that's your nuclear family. That's your immediate family. Then beyond that, outside of your house, you have other family members. This is called your extended family because you extend outside of the nuclear. That's grandparents, aunts, uncles, niece, nephew, cousins, etc. Again, all of these words by now should be pretty basic and standard to you. Now, you can also add to your family, right? You can have in-laws. So you have brother-in-law, sister-in-law, mother-in-law, father-in-law, etc. The main thing I wanted you to focus on is plural. So we don't say brother-in-laws, we say brothers-in-law, sisters-in-law, parents-in-law. Okay, so this is family that you basically add to your family through marriage. When you marry someone, that person's family becomes your family, but they become family-in-law. So one's in-laws. Now, we can also use in-laws as a noun to talk about the whole group. All the family members that are family to you through marriage are your in-laws, and you can use that as well. Then you have step-siblings. Now, this is a bit more common in the last century or so, but a step-sibling, so when a couple divorces, or maybe a couple, one of the couple dies, and they have a child. If the parent that remains remarries, gets a new husband, new wife, then the relationship between the new husband or new wife and the child is step. So if my mother married another man, that man would be my stepfather. I would be his stepson, and vice versa, stepmother, stepdaughter, etc. So again, it's by marriage, but by second marriage. And then you have half-siblings. When you have one common parent to two children, they are half-brother, half-sister. So one mother, but two separate fathers, then they're halves. Or one father, two different mothers, they're half-siblings. So one shared parent, okay? Notice also, I have the hyphen and I have the hyphen when I talk about stepbrother, stepsister, etc. So, family types. Okay, so now we have other words for other family members that are not immediate or extended, not nuclear or extended, okay? When we talk about distant family, we mean like a cousin's child or a cousin's cousin or some sort of relationship to your family, some sort of blood relationship, but not really a close connection. So they're technically family, but you don't really even know this person very well. And we can say this is a family relation. So this person, you don't really know this person very well, but there is some sort of blood connection, like aunts, cousins, daughters, son, whatever, like all kinds of different lines of blood flowing, but you don't really know this person very well. So a stranger with blood connection is a family relation, or it's a distant family. Now, more and more common expression these days, so we also talk about different trends, the way things change in terms of talking about a family. So we have something called a blended family. So you have a family that the parents got divorced, but they have kids. So let's say this man has two kids. He meets a woman, she also has two kids. They get married, and they all live together in the house. So the husband and wife and the four kids live together. We call this a blended family because they're taking two separated families and putting them together to make a new family, okay? A very common expression these days, a bit trendy expression. Then you can have an adopted child or adoptive parents. So if you go to another country, like if you can't have your own child, or if you just want to help another child, you take from different parents and you make it this child as your own. You adopt a boy, you adopt a girl from your own country, from your own race, or other countries, other races. For example, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie have adopted many kids, and Madonna's adopted a bunch of kids, etc. A foster parent. So if you have a house and you basically help children move from one situation to another, you are the between phase. So let's say a child lost his or her parents in an accident. There's no one to take care of this child. So they come to live in your house. You're their foster parent. You take care of them until the state or the government can find someone willing to adopt this child. Or until the child is old enough, like let's say 18, and then goes on and lives his or her own life. So you foster them. You take care of them until they can go somewhere else or on their own, okay? Another very common situation these days is a single parent, single mom, single dad. This is a parent who got divorced or lost a husband or wife and is raising a child alone. So there's only a one-parent household, we can say, okay? And again, also becoming more and more popular these days, a stay-at-home dad. It used to be that the woman, the wife, had a child. Maybe she would give up her job, she would stay at home for a few years to take care of the child until he or she can start school, and then maybe she'd go back to work. And the husband would just go to work and make sure that everything is paid for. Now, as more and more women are getting into the workforce and getting high positions, high-paying positions, they become the breadwinner. The breadwinner is the person who makes the income for the family, or the higher income, and the father stays at home to take care of the kids. This is becoming more common, more acceptable. There's less of a stigma attached to it. 50 years ago, a man wouldn't do this because all the other men would laugh at him. Today, it seems to be no problem, so it happens. Again, we're talking about how families change over time. Now, before the family, there's a marriage. So I'm going to give you some vocabulary for marriage because this is still related to family. So marriage, everybody knows. Nuptials. So like usually we say nuptials with an S, but technically it's nuptial is the noun form. It basically means wedding. Okay, it's another way to say wedding. Matrimony is another way to say marriage. And you can use wedding, the ceremony when you get married, but make sure you understand you can also use the verb to wed. To wed someone means to get married to someone, okay? But not everybody wants to get married, especially young people today. They're quite happy just living together without going to the church, without going to City Hall, signing papers and making everything legal. So if they live together for a long period of time, it's different. The amount of time depends on the country, depends on the state, the province, etc. But after a certain amount of time of cohabitation, means living together, they become common law partners. And their situation is called a common law marriage. They didn't do it through a ceremony, they didn't do it through paperwork, they did it just by habit, okay? They live together. Cohabitation doesn't mean habit. Habitation means living together. But they live together, that living together becomes a habit. They get used to it. So that's why they're common law. Common law comes from like the law, the British law, Canadian law, etc. So very common these days. Just live together, and after a few years, the government just looks at you like you're married, and they give you the same tax breaks and the same rights when it comes to your finances, basically. Of course, there's same-sex marriage. A gay couple or a lesbian couple are getting married more and more. More and more countries and cities and provinces and states are making it legal. In a lot of places, it's still illegal. In places where it's legal, it's becoming more popular. It's a gay or lesbian marriage couple. And there's also something called an arranged marriage. An arranged marriage, like the woman's parents find the man's parents, they say, okay, we can make a good match here. My daughter and your son should get married. Sometimes the husband and wife meet for the first time at the wedding. Okay, that's an arranged marriage. These days, it's very uncommon. They generally meet before. They still have to like each other at least a little bit, but basically, it's not so much a love marriage. It's more of a business relationship, if you want to look at it that way. So that's called an arranged marriage. Now, a few other good words that you need to know about. So I mentioned nuptial before. That's basically wedding. So a prenuptial agreement. This is very common among wealthy people. So if I'm a very rich man, I have $1 billion, and I meet a woman, but I want to make sure that she's not marrying me for my money. So I ask her to sign a prenuptial agreement. This is basically a contract. And it states that if we get divorced after a certain time or before a certain time, I don't have to give her half of my money. Okay? If she doesn't want to sign it, maybe I'm a little suspicious. If she does want to sign it, it means she loves me and everything's okay. That's more for rich people to worry about. So I mentioned arranged marriage. So the person who does this would be a marriage broker or a matchmaker. A matchmaker doesn't have to be like an agent. It doesn't have to be an arranged marriage. Even friends who introduce their friends to each other, they're also called matchmakers. You're creating or you're making a match between people. Before you get married, there is a period of engagement, or you get engaged. It means it's like a promise to get married. And then the man, it becomes a fiancé, and the woman becomes a fiancée. Notice 1 E for the man, 2 E's for the woman. If you don't write the accent, the French accent on the E, don't worry about it. If you're doing handwriting, it's okay to let it go. When you're typing on a Word or like some word processor, it'll put the accent automatically, so it's fine. Next, so you're married. Now you're having some problems. So in most cases, people get separated. They go live in different houses. And after 1 year, if they're sure that they don't want to get back together, then they get divorced. So separated means just move out. Divorced means you sign paperwork and you legally end the marriage. But then there are some people who are simply estranged. They're not just separated. Separated means you're living in different houses, but you're still talking to each other. Estranged means you split apart and you don't talk to each other at all. In many cases, these people, estranged couples, are still married, but they just hate each other so much that they can't even get together to speak to arrange a divorce. It happens. You can also use estranged with family members. Estranged father, estranged son means haven't spoken to in a long time, have no relationship with anymore. And if someone loses a husband or wife, a widow basically is a woman who lost her husband, whose husband died. A widower is a man whose wife died. Okay? So these are all basically the vocabulary you're going to look at today. Now, sometimes you'll see a topic on the IELTS or TOEFL essay, how has the family unit changed over the last 50 years? Okay? So you can start using some of these words. The average size of the nuclear family has decreased. It used to be like 2.2 kids average, now it's 1.8 or 1.9. So basically the replacement rate, the reproduction is a lower than replacement rate, which means the population is going to start shrinking because the families are getting smaller. Family roles are being redefined. For example, the breadwinner, the person who makes the most money, is no longer automatically the man of the family as more women join the workforce. Indeed, the instances of stay-at-home dads is on the rise in many Western nations, right? So roles are changing, men are staying at home, women are going out to make the money. It happens. It is not uncommon to see blended families on holidays or even single parents with their children engage in group activities as a sort of makeshift extended family. So it's not a real extended family. There's no blood relationship, but you get a bunch of single parents with their kids together. They create their own pretend family. They get so close that it's like family. Okay, you can think of very close friends as family as well, right? So it's makeshift. Same-sex and common law. Oh, sorry, I put a little extra space here. There shouldn't be a space. Same-sex and common law partnerships are also on the rise, becoming more popular, with the rates of adoption among these groups rising accordingly. So common law partners and same-sex couples, obviously same-sex couples can't naturally have kids, so they adopt or they make other arrangements like in vitro and all that. Okay? And that's it. So hopefully some good vocab here, hopefully some new vocab here for you. Remember, if you want to actually know how to use these words, use them. Don't just try to memorize. Write sentences, share with your friends, get some feedback on them if you can. Okay? And that's the family. So if you have any questions about this video, please ask me in the YouTube comments section. If you like the video, please give me a like. Don't forget to subscribe. You can just click this button up here to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to visit writetotop.com for more useful information. And I'll see you again next week with another video. Bye-bye.